Welcome, everybody, to the Carlette Christmas Show. Our guest this morning is none other than Monyetta Shaw. She is a native Louisianan. She's the mother, an actress, an entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, and you might also recognize her from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Well, we welcome her to the Carlette Christmas Show for the very first time. Monyetta, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited.
Absolutely. We're super excited, and I really am excited about your journey from Shreveport. First of all, tell us about growing up in Shreveport, Louisiana, and wanting to maybe do something bigger.
Yes. So growing up in Shreveport, Louisiana, well, actually, it's my address says Shreveport, but across the street, the address says Greenwood, Louisiana.
I saw that.
So, yeah.
But people would recognize Shreveport more than Greenwood. But let's give Greenwood its props.
Listen, shout out to Greenwood. But yes, honestly, it was just everything. I really enjoyed growing up in the country. We have all these acres, and I grew up running around with no shoes and not knowing that it's called grounding and actually helps you. And I find myself doing that now just to center myself. But yeah, grew up just running around, enjoying making mud pies, just making like songs and doing shows. The entertainment was always in me, like everything. It was just like we have a close-knit family, for one, and I just loved it. It was nothing like it. I would not change my upbringing for anything. We went to church maybe like 3 times a week for choir rehearsal, Bible study, and on Sunday. So yes.
And so when did you know that there was something bigger? When did you get bitten by the entertainment bug?
Oh, wow. I think all throughout school, high school, I was like leading lady of the dance line. I was always involved. I was in pageants and won them. Just placed my first time ever being in a pageant. I just wanted to be active and always loved music. It's so funny because I would show my cousin and I would play a game where you used to have the radios would be back in the day. It would turn the music down and I would talk over it. Yeah, that song was, and I was a radio personality in Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew it early on, honestly. And I just knew that it was more out there. And I went on my first airplane ride. I'll never forget this. I think I was either in 8th grade or my freshman year in high school. My uncle, who passed a couple of years ago, he was rest in peace, Uncle Dunny. He was actually a geologist, and he was one of the probably first African Americans that attended Princeton University. So he actually took me on my first trip to Los Angeles. He lived in DC. He won a sweepstakes to one of my favorite TV shows, Beverly Hills 90210. And of course, yeah, and I would never forget this. And I accompanied him, and I was so excited. Still remember my ugly hairstyle, when the freeze was the sound and that girl, I was like, I'm gonna kill him with this one. Look at the pictures now, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Was that your LA hair? Did you like do that especially for LA? Like I'm gonna show up on point in LA.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure I was looking super country, but it was all good. I had a great time. And yeah, ever since then, and I got to see my favorite entertainer, my favorite actor and actresses, and just be up close and personal. And I think it was on the beach out there in LA, and I was blown away. And I wasn't even afraid for my first plane ride. I'm just like, let's do this. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting out of Shreveport, Bossier City, Greenwood, all that. There's more out. So once I got a taste of that, I'm like, oh yeah, we're out of here from there.
Wow. And so after you finish college and you go out into the world, how do you start crafting what will be this acting career, this career that would, bring you books that you would write and just journeys that you would take? How does that start to happen?
Oh, wow. It just, I would like to say, a lot of people say when something falls into your lap, but I've always had an outgoing personality. I like to say I never meet a stranger. And that definitely comes from my upbringing. Just, just being kind to people, and people have always gravitated towards me. And sometimes I would recognize that they're famous or whatever, and I would just treat them just like I treat everyone else. And of course, they would appreciate that, because mostly people, I imagine, would, fan out or go crazy. But what I found, they really appreciated that. And that actually, I was able to build friendships with some of those people and just maintain them over the years. And I God put me in the right place at the right time, I would like to say, honestly. From Shreveport, being a radio personality, and then I moved away, but I moved back home, and that's when the movie business incentive was going on, and a lot of people were shooting movies in Shreveport. And I actually started off as an extra and made friends on set, and just being myself and super nice, and was called to be a featured extra. And then I actually got an agent. I was like, I think I want to try this acting thing, because I was and went from featured extras to a stand-in. I was Sanaa Lathan stand-in, Nicole Parker stand-in. And so sometimes you go over the lines while you're getting their lighting, together. And I remember one of the directors saying, "Oh, wow," and I overheard him. And so I'm like, okay, let me get an agent and start auditioning. And on my very first audition, I got a call back. I didn't get the role, but I got a call back, and there was Malcolm Lee, who does Best Men, and he did Welcome Home, Jenkins. And I was blown away that I got this call back. I didn't get the part, but once I saw the movie, I saw why I did it. But everybody in the audition was laughing. They were smiling. I just got a really good response from it. And when I saw it was, she was, more heavy set, and she was pregnant, but I obviously did my thing, girl. So I was like, okay, hey. So, that built up the confidence for that. Because of course in acting, you're going to hear like almost a million no's before you hear the yes. But just that being out the gate, my first audition, it just did something to me. And I was like, okay, I'll stick at this. And I think it was maybe like a year and a half later, I actually booked my first role with Malcolm Lee in, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. Yes. And I played the character Odetta. And that's who the late Bernie Mac and Samuel L. Jackson was arguing over the entire movie. My scenes got unfortunately deleted because of the untimely death of Bernie Mac. So they used more of that, but my picture throughout it, and they, talk about it. And it was a great experience. And from there on, I was just like, oh yeah, let's go.
Were you afraid of the rejection? How did you keep yourself grounded? You said there's a million no's before you get to yes. How did you work through that?
Honestly, I give that up to my foundation, my family, my dad, who's my rock, and my late mother, who recently passed in July. Thank you so much. They actually would have been married for 50 years, going on this February. And so it was such a blessing. It's such a blessing to have grown up like I've grown up, and to have that foundation. I speak on that foundation so much, and my roots, because it played a big part in it. Because we all know that the entertainment industry, the business, can be, very scary. And if you don't know yourself, if you don't know whose you are and who you are, you can be swayed. So I just thank God every day for that. So a lot of that, and that the scariness of it, my parents, my dad helped me. I remember having talks with him, because I am human, and of course, no one likes to hear no a lot. And I attest that to my past, to just growing up, and sometimes people are mean, or if you're doing a lot of things and very active, people are like, oh, she thinks she all that, or just start rumors. And what I would get a lot when people actually meet me, they're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you're so approachable, you're this, you're that. I'm like, well, okay, well, thank you, but where are you getting this from? And they're like, and so that I've always had tough skin. So I think I would always say, I'm like, okay, now God, I'm ready for it. Like what comes with the celebrity, and because I was always like a hometown person that was in the spotlight. But I'm like, okay, God, like this is, because every 100 times I would hear something or see something negative, it would get to me. And, I would pray about it, just take a moment to breathe, call my father, who happens to be in town now.
Wow.
So grateful for that. Yeah. And he would just give me the word, give me the scripture. Sometimes, when I didn't want to hear it, and it would always build me up immediately. And he's like, just imagine what, Jesus Christ went through, and this, and, like, you got it. Like, this too shall pass. And, I just hold that with me, and I just, apply it to my life. And I'm like, you're right. I got this, and he'll never put more on me than I can bear. And I'll just, dust it off, keep going, and try again.
Monyetta Shaw, she is an incredible mother. And I know this from our mutual friend, what an incredible mother you are. An actress, an entrepreneur, just a woman who really understands kindness and cultivates kindness and humanity. And not only that, you have been able to fulfill your heart's desire from a little girl. So what is it like, Monyetta, when you get that call that you're going to be part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta?
When I received the call that I was going to be a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I was really excited. I was. And the opportunity came before, when I was with my children's father. But some things happened, and it just wasn't the right time. I was honestly but it's fine, because, my family is more important. And during that relationship, I actually took the back seat. And I speak about that in one of my books.
Mm-hmm. Let me just catch people up who may not know. You're talking about Neo, your children's father. Yeah. So at that time, when you and Neo were together, did y'all have a conversation? And did that conversation lead you to say, I'm going to pass?
Yes. So at first he was totally supportive of it. But then his management thought otherwise, just to be quite frank. And we, of course I wasn't going to go against that if that's really how he felt at the time. And he said it was. And of course I agreed. The most important thing to me is family, in that sense. And I didn't want to mess it up, because they were saying that it wouldn't be good for his career. And I'm like, okay, all right, say less. Like, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to pass. But yeah, hindsight,
right. And so after that pass, did the relationship start to falter after that?
Pretty much after. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, if this was gonna be what happened, so I began to kind of regret it. I'm like, well, maybe I should have. I would have known we were going to not be together. But everything happens for a reason, honestly. I went on to do another show on VH1 titled, it was Hollywood Exes, but Atlanta Exes for this one. We did one season. And like I said, this years later, this was brought back. And I'm like, okay, all right. And it just seemed like it was from God, and God's timing is the best timing, like people say, make plans and, God would laugh at you, because it's about his timing. And honestly, I feel like I'm in just a better place. I'm a newlywed, and the kids are older, and I definitely feel like it's a better time. And I don't necessarily have to, even though, of course, I'm kind of still like, okay, Neo, because he is the entertainer per se. And I'm just trying to be not completely detached from it, but it's about me. I do all these other incredible things too. So just being introduced to the world with him kind of, okay, yeah, he happens to be the children's, the father of my children. I think, in my opinion, is a better look, and Absolutely. It's better timing. So,
and don't you think that finally now people see you aside from Neo, because that was just a relationship?
Exactly, for sure. And I know that if I would have, which, eventually they would have gotten to know me on my own, but that kind of would foreshadow it, So the timing is perfect. So I was elated when I got the phone call, and to come on as in the capacity that I did as a friend of the show. And I was like, yeah, this is good, because I don't have to be all the way in. And
Mm-hmm.
I could just see how it really goes and how it feels to see if it is a good fit for me and my family.
And so, what are you thinking, after, having that season and being a part of the brand? Do you feel like it's something that will grow and that you'll get your peach?
Well, I think it has the possibility for growth. I really do, because I feel like I add that balance that's needed so desperately to the group of amazing ladies. I really think that they all are just bosses individually within their own right, and they're funny. It's just so everyone brings something different to the group, and I feel like I fit in very well. Some of these ladies I've been knowing for years, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a good fit. So yeah, we'll see. The possibility is definitely there, but I would love to for you guys to get a more bigger look into my life now, like the blended family, just bringing some positive light into the situation is refreshing, and that's a lot of the feedback that I've been getting. I did one of my events, my mommy and me play nights, and DC recently, and I got noticed literally everywhere that I went. And the first thing that they would say was, "Oh my God, thank you so much for being positive and being classy. Like, we need to see this. The world needs to see this." And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is good. So hopefully, the network feels the same way, and we
Mm-hmm.
could, just keep moving further.
Absolutely. And I think that that's part of who you are, and it's quickly becoming your brand. And in this culture of meanness and
Oh my
mean
goodness.
girl, mean woman syndrome, talk about
Yes.
cultivating kindness and
Mm.
how that just has been a part of who you've always been.
Oh yes. Cultivating kindness has absolutely been um, a part of who I am. And it just shines through and through to when someone just is around me or sees me. And I love that about my husband as well. He just his energy, and he just brings light just as I do. And it's super important. My children have it too. They have this
Mm-hmm.
light. I just really awesome, nice human beings, of course they're kids, but they're just so nice. When we were living we sold our place in Buckhead, and we'd be on the elevator coming down, like my son would say, just give the stranger like this nice compliment just about anything. "Oh, I love your shirt," like just the simplest thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
always just preach that, but more so preach it, I practice it, and they see me doing it. Just you never know, just a nice kind smile or "Hello, how are you?" and really listening to the what's coming
Mm-hmm.
back can change the trajectory of a person's day. So just to be centered with kindness, it's everything. Like, it really can change a person, and especially in the world today, we have so much negativity, like
Mm-hmm.
just everywhere that you turn. So I like to say, just spread that kindness. It takes 6 seconds to be nice. So just do it.
I love that. Mignetta, you are a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
You are a breath of fresh air, and it is so wonderful to see your journey, and we just can't wait to see what God has next for you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. You are absolutely amazing. And I feel like, okay, girl, I'm giving you my number after this, because we're all going to get together.
I'm going to see you in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, and we're going to hug each other. We're going to hug it out, and we're going to spread some kindness. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Our guest this morning, Monyetta Shaw. She is a friend of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Stay tuned, because you never know what's next.